Welcome, everyone, to the Wrestling Podcast. Kind of on at a weird time tonight with AE Dynamite, the start time changing because of the NBA, but here we are. Guys, how's it going? Alfred, how are you doing?
Very good. Feels really good. 4 hours of professional wrestling. Who would have thought?
Yeah, we're joined here with Alfred Konuwa of Forbes, and of course, as always, the hardest working man on this podcast, Matt Morgan. Matt, how are you?
What's going on, guys?
So real quick, I also watched MLW tonight, the Opera Cup Finals, and so between these three shows, it was 5 hours of wrestling, and I still felt like it didn't drag as much as most Monday nights with 3 hours of Raw.
If that's what we're comparing it to, definitely yes.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling. That's a good comparison because we just watched Raw this past Monday. It does not feel like I've been watching a Raw. Raw usually feels like a day. This felt like, less than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought good shows for both. There wasn't much newsworthy on either. I think they're both really loading up their New Year's shows. Dynamite, AEW is loading up the next 2 weeks. NXT really, they have loaded up that New Year's Evil card in 2 weeks. So they're clearly looking ahead. These were almost felt like filler shows, but at the same time, really enjoyable.
Yeah, they did feel a little fillerish. But
yeah.
I can't complain about any of the matches. I thought they were smoothly transitioned, well-written shows as well, I'd say, how they were paced.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And I thought, one of the big things, I thought the Acclaimed, took a big jump tonight. Like, even though they lost, I thought they came across looking like stars.
They did. My only complaint, all right, is that I didn't want to see them take an L. They just started getting going. They just started getting hot. They have a really cool act. We've seen this before, but they're really good. Like, he's really good. He's really good on the mic. He's hilarious. And in the ring, they're obviously really good too, right? But I like their gimmick. I like their shtick. I just wait a little bit longer before you guys start eating them up. That's all. And then eat them up. They give them plenty of offense. It's a very close match. I don't know. Wins and losses, not sound like a dork, but matter to me.
Yeah. And I feel like that way with Top Flight. Like, they haven't gotten a win on Dynamite.
Same thing. Really?
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Wow.
That's another awesome tag team, by the way.
Yeah. No, I think they're due. Like, they need to give these guys a couple wins instead of, they made that big debut, and now I think this is their third loss in a row. So, at some point, when you just see the same team losing over and over, it just gets stuck in your head. Like, that's what they do.
What AEW might have made the mistake of doing is they kept saying, the Acclaimed has won 7 in a row. They've won 7 in a row. And it's good that they're doing that, but a lot of those wins came on dark. And so they're putting a lot of stock in the dark. People who watch Dynamite, by and large, are going to be watching Dynamite, not really paying attention to the 7 wins in a row. It's not like they've really been heated up to where they've won 7 TV matches. So maybe have them get a couple of wins on Dynamite to add to that 7 wins in a row.
Right. Yeah. It's like saying if they're like, hey, this guy's been winning on Main Event for the last 2 months. No one watches Main Event. So, and Dark, as much as I know there's some diehards that love Dark, and that's great. But if you look at the actual viewership and what the U.S. viewership would be in unique views, which you can kind of guess what it is, it's a fraction of what Dynamite does. So Dynamite's the main show. You got to build the stars on Dynamite. But again, I thought they did a good job with the Acclaim tonight, even though they did take the L. But the show tonight opened up with the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, and MJF with Jake Hager taking on Top Flight, as we mentioned. They did, Jericho and MJF, they did everything to make it look like Top Flight was a real threat.
They did. They definitely did. It was a great opening match. Great way to open the show. There's no arguments here on that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm being hypocritical here because, like you just said earlier, I want to see Acclaim wrestle somebody different, like SCU again or something like that on television. Somebody like that.
Yeah.
And beat them convincingly. Because when they beat SCU, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw that, but
when the Acclaim did,
I just want to make mention, the announcers sold it like they literally said this is a huge upset. Huge upset, folks.
Right.
All right. Meanwhile, they're about to move and transition to a promo to cut on the Bucks for a championship match.
Right.
That ain't the time to be calling that an upset. All right. Secondly, back to the other tag team. Same thing. I wish they were given another like SCU level tag team. You know, like the what do you call it? Express tonight got to win, right?
Jurassic Express.
Right? And that's cool. We've not seen them in God knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're at a point now where they have to come up with another show. They've TNT. I can't believe I'm saying that. Like beggars can't be choosers, but they need to get another hour show, something on actual television that picks up that type of viewership. I don't want to see them do 3 hours. I think that'd be a mega mistake.
Right.
Where we could get these teams because they have their tag team division is crazy deep.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Right. Yeah. And the Top Flight looked so good tonight. I know, so there are some times where, you see that they're a little green. I know they're really young. I know they're going to be one of the best tag teams in the world someday. And just when I watch them now, I can already see these things like, is it too early to say that they're one of the best tag teams in the world? I know they're young, but eventually they will be. And it's not going to be that much longer. So I'd rather be early on that.
Let's ask a question really quick. Is this where the Hardy Boys were? Maybe.
Ah.
And were people calling for like the scrawny Hardy Boys? Because that's what I always thought they were. I thought they were scrawny as hell. And at first, when they first started as a tag team, like, is that where we are with these guys? And like, are we wanting the fast forward button too quick? Are we wanting to put them in the microwave already?
I would say they're further than the scrawny. I mean, if you remember when the Hardys first came out, they were just, they're job guys. They're just paying their dues.
So to be fair, right after,
right in there.
To be fair, after their jobber status days.
Yeah,
like,
you mean like when they were in Michael Hayes, like during?
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, no, they're not at that level right. No, not right now. Not when they started kind of taking off and finding their own and stuff like that.
Because even then, it was hard for me to really accept the Hardy Boys' offense. When they punch and kick people, I'd be like, what? Don't sell that shit. Close on his face off.
Right. But that was a different time too. Like Jeff Hardy now is bigger than most of the guys on the roster.
I just wonder if we're like, am I asking for too much? Am I ruining it by hitting fast forward on these guys' development? Because they do. You're absolutely right, Alfred. There's little, not glitches, but little holes that are still there with experience that will be filled.
Yeah. Sure. And I think also one of the things is. When we talk about getting wins and losses, give them some wins, but also have them work more on Dark, instead of having them on Dynamite all the time so early on. Let them develop more. And, these guys are a great tag team. I mean,
they're can't miss. I'm sorry, they can't miss.
Disgruntled New York Jets, Justin Lopez, to 499 Super Chat. So my friend trains with the Acclaimed. They're from Kurt Hawkins Academy, and they ran a lot of the same spots in this match that they do in training.
Inside baseball.
Of course they do. That's where they practice it. That would be the place in which they would practice those spots at. Yeah. Makes sense.
Jody Shauna Jenkins saying, AEW is solid. My only comment is Hager Wardlow being too rushed in my opinion. Drag it out more. The MJF bit about the death was odd as well. I agree. I had the same two thoughts watching the show.
Me too. I agree with that.
Yep. So we had... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alfred.
I was just saying, they're really trying to heat up that January 6th show. I mean, you saw that where they were just promoting one match after another, and maybe they just figured that now is the right time to do Wardlow and Hager. I actually really like the promo that Hager cut on Wardlow, that he's fired. He was really fired up. But, yeah, it is valid to wonder whether or not this is too early, because if we're already started getting these matches when they're 2 weeks removed from them having a kumbaya and getting back together, it is kind of odd.
You know what? Yeah.
This won't be a feature. This other thing with AEW, I think we're wrong. I don't think that was ever meant to be a featured match. I don't. So for the fact that they're throwing it out there early, normally I wouldn't like it, especially with two big guys. I think you always got to do a slow burn with big guys like this. But they're not going to showcase it. So you know what? If you could steal a spot on that card with it, fine.
I agree with that, but at the same time, it was it last week or 2 weeks ago when they said the beat this squash, we all are getting along now.
Hager said in his promo, he even said 2 weeks ago we were
right. 2 weeks. Yep. Yeah, so from a storyline perspective,
no, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. We're supposed to all be on the same page. We're not supposed to be fighting amongst each other. Even Wardlow and, Hager, I agree. I think it's too soon. maybe they do something screwy. We still haven't seen a DQ in a singles one fall match on Dynamite yet.
Can I ask a question that nobody's talking about, and I don't know why? How come nobody says anything about how boring Jake Hager is? He's a big guy, and I love big guys. I always overrate him. I'll admit it, but he is boring as hell. He is boring. He's boring looking, and he's boring in the ring. His outfit, I mean, his what he wears when he wrestles and stuff. It looks like I don't know what it looks like. It doesn't look like he even did in WWE, I'll argue.
Yeah, and he's a legit tough guy, badass.
Yes.
But when he talks, I remember the same thing. I was like, man, let's get to the point. I'm getting bored during this promo. Let's get to it. Maybe Jericho should have, did some of the talking, but
I don't buy him as a heater either. He's just a big, tall dude. I don't buy him as a heater. Wardlow? Oh, yes, I buy him as a heater.
Do you think it's partly the haircut?
I think Wardlow is because he's thicker. He's thicker. He's more muscular. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he doesn't change with Wardlow.
Wardlow's a star.
He doesn't change his facial expressions. He really is disciplined in that. Wardlow is a breakout star waiting to happen, man.
He reminds me of Mason Ryan in that he has the look, but he can actually go.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I thought Mason Ryan was gonna be the shit.
Same here. He looked like Batista.
Yes, he did.
But then he just sucked when he was out there. But Wardlow is actually really good, and you see it already.
Yeah.
They had their match. At the end, Dante was taking care of Jericho on the outside of the ring. Hager pulled Darius before he springed off of MJF, and MJF hit the Heat Seeker for the win. So they cheated. Hager interfered, so they got the win. So they did protect them a little bit.
Yep.
And after the match, as we mentioned, Hager cut that promo. Said he's pissed off at Wardlow for not showing up because of family business, saying that this is family business. Wardlow, this was taped last week, this episode. And so Wardlow legitimately was not there last week because of family issues. So they were bringing that in. Hager said he understands Wardlow is an asset, but says he's an asshole, and says that they're going to face off next week.
What does he do that he's an asshole? Like, seriously, what does poor Wardlow do that he's an asshole?
Just don't like each other.
Right. Yeah. Well.
I'm going for Wardlow.
Yeah. Justin Lopez saying, also the big dude Caster was a Lashley sister. Caster.
Wow, we're getting all kinds of inside scoops tonight. I like it.
Wait, what?
Who's Caster?
Max Caster's from the Acclaimed. He's the one with all the bars.
Max Caster. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Steezy Preezy saying, thanks for the late night recap. A lot of other recap pods took the night off. Hardest working podcasters out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our friend Jack Scallon saying he should be a big man who destroys and doesn't speak like Wardlow about Hager.
Right.
Yeah, when he talks, it just kind of takes no offense, but it just kind of takes away from it a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a strong suit of his game, and
to be fair to Jake Hager, if he's still doing MMA, maybe that's why his physique looks the way it does, and he looks so lean and not massive, like I think a heater should look. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So up next we had the Acclaimed. They did a little music video. It was called Buck Hunt.
So good.
Love it.
It was really good.
Of course it was. The dude is talented as hell.
If I may, can I repeat a couple of bars?
Absolutely.
Who quit Twitter because all the fans hate him? Who kissed Dave's ass for the star ratings? You guys. And now you're going to be destroyed. The Acclaimed turning young bucks into young boys. Don't talk to me about John Cena. Don't talk to me about John Cena. This is the best battle rappers in WWE history. It's amazing.
I don't disagree with that. I think he is so damn good. John Cena was all right. None of John's shit ever really rhymed, though, if you go back and watch it. He'd get away with stuff that didn't always rhyme. Dude, this dude Caster is really good. Really good.
Yeah. The other guy obviously can't rap because he never does anything.
But when he came out to the ring, yes, I was gonna say when he came out to the ring the other night, and they were making fun of what's his name for getting knocked out in that battle brawl. Celebrity.
Nate Robinson
getting knocked out, and his dude took a bump. I popped you for that. So he does do the good pantomiming. He does.
Yeah. So this was great. I mean, if you haven't seen it, I thought it was really clever. Cena had some good ones, though. I remember one time he was talking about Tori Wilson giving her a pearl necklace. Jesus, like stuff that you can get away with back then.
Definitely, no question about
it. Yeah, Cena's good. This is another level. I just like. Yeah. I don't want anybody to think this is a rip-off of John Cena. I just think that would be such an insult to what they're doing. And the buck hunt thing is so genius. There was a thought that went behind this. There was a concept. They were out in the woods. They had a crossbow. They were buck hunting. And the rap had that in the... It was just amazing.
I agree.
Men on a mission were doing this before Cena. Or at least Mo.
Oh, they were.
Yes, it was Mo.
So next we had Tony Schiavone out. He had an interview with Sting. I don't know, man. I feel like... if you're not going to do much with Sting, just keep him off of TV for a couple weeks. Because every week, and when he's not doing anything, just kind of saying the same stuff, it just kind of lessens his value. So he's out there and just kind of says the same thing. He just wanted to be back on TNT and AEW. He's come full circle. Schiavone points to Darby Allin. And then he said, yeah, there's deep question with Darby Allin. Before he says anything, Taz and his group come out. And that was about it. So Sting, during this promo, he did do a good Dusty Rhodes impression.
Yeah.
And he talked about how Dusty, I believe he was talking about how Dusty gave him color the first time. Like had him bleed.
No, I think he was saying how he pitched the Sting gimmick to him. He said, we're going to put some color on your face. No, we're going to put some color on your pants and make them glow in the dark and stuff like that. So I think he's going over how
those bright
he put them together. Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say, Sting had the face paint before with Ultimate Warrior when they were the...
Just not the bright, crazy colors.
Right. Yeah, he had the, like, just black. Right.
Yeah, real quick, I'll be honest, Sting looks very, like, not just comfortable. Like, that's not the Sting that was coming out on Impact. I'll just say it right now. This Sting looks like he's having fun for what it's worth. I'm not saying that as a homer for AEW. I'm just saying from my own perspective. And I know that might not be great because there's not much storyline moving along with him so far. I get that. But, like, doing Dusty impersonations, the week before making Tony come on in and redo his thing again, his entrance, and say his name. Little things that you can tell when he's super comfortable. He goes really far out there. And he's done it twice now. And so I think that's a good sign. I do agree with you. Don't overuse him too much. You know what I mean? Unless, But then here's the question. If he's not going to be wrestling matches, what do you do with him, right?
Well, apparently he's going to be wrestling some. So
I don't buy that for one freaking second. I know they've said that. I get they've said that, so we have to go off of them saying that. These are also the same people that told me wins and losses were going to matter, and they don't. So I don't always believe that. I think he'll do a 6-man tag, an 8-man tag. Like I said, he'll get the hot tag at the end of the match, blow a comeback, get the pin. That'd be great. But that's it. He ain't wrestling no singles matches. And if he does, it's going to be very quick.
Mm-hmm. Alfred?
They're teasing something with him and Darby. I mean, clearly there's something going on there. I don't know if it's going to be them with a singles match. I mean, they did have Sting reference Darby in the rafters this time, and then Darby appeared later.
It has to be a theatrical match. It has to be.
Yeah, and I would love that. I mean, Darby Allin hasn't had a theatrical match, and I know from talking to him, he said he really wants to do it, and so I want to see Sting and Darby in a kind of boneyard match type. Yes, I think they can absolutely do it. AEW is very capable of that.
Let me take that back. If there's those kind of matches, Sting can do those every week. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I think they could do well with Sting and Darby is that the Rocky 5 storyline where Rocky starts mentoring Tommy Gunn, and then Tommy Gunn starts getting pissed at all the attention going to Rocky, and then eventually turns heel, and then they finally have that match at the end. I think they could do something similar.
And maybe that'd be great. Maybe that is it, because that would take a long time to tell that story. They could buy a lot of slow burn with that.
But then again, Sting will be a lot older by then. He'll be 63 if they take it here. So there is that. Chris went saying, off topic, wanted to say thank you, gentlemen, for another great year of shows. And sorry, Matt, for the AJ cookie joke on Monday. What's the AJ cookie joke?
Yeah, I don't even know what he's referencing. I was there.
What he's talking about. Cookie joke. I don't know.
Maybe something with the AJ Styles and the cookie or the Christmas.
Okay. So I still haven't watched Monday's Raw, so I don't know. Maybe I'll catch it tomorrow.
AJ, Drew. That was Drew. Glenn said something slick, but I don't remember. Something like that. Sorry.
Good. All right. Adrian Sebastian with 100 rupees saying, most hype things 3 weeks back didn't mature well. Sting and Kenny in Impact. We got a boring Sting interview and a lame storyline with Impact. I mean, those are good points.
We can't. Okay, we're being homers here if we disagree with that. We got to be honest here. We thought this would be a lot more. I thought the wrestling world was set on fire a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going, oh my God, it's an attitude era all over again, Larissa. You don't understand. I marked huge for this 3 weeks ago.
The Impact thing has kind of been like a fart in church. Like, it's just,
It's lost steam with every passing week. I mean, you look at the two, good point. You look at the two hottest storylines then, and then when you fast forward to now, if you were to watch the show cold, the Acclaimed came off as hotter than Sting or Kenny Omega, who were just kind of shuffled off and got their little segment. But, you had a lot of things that I thought were hotter than them on this show, and I don't think there's an excuse for that.
It's interesting. Yep. Kenny Omega is interesting because, week... Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I'm so sorry. I do like what they're doing. I watched him on Impact doing his little stuff with Don, the little backstage, promo and whatnot. You can tell they were just like freestyling out there. Anyways, I do like his new look, his old look essentially. I do like what they're doing with him for what it's worth. I do like heel Kenny Omega a hell of a lot better than what we had. So I don't want to crap on it too much. So they start changing things. So they got to stay in this direction. Love Don Callis with him. I just still don't see where the payoff is for AEW. I don't see it. Oh, Matt, Tony Khan got to go on AEW television and completely jabron them. You're missing it. Well, guess what? So did probably 95% of the WWE wrestling audience that doesn't watch that crap.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so this week, it's tough to do a fair comparison, but Impact this week was the best of. But they did 133,000 viewers on Access and a .03, not a .3, a .03 in the 18 to 49 demo. It didn't make the cable top 150. Again, it's a recap show. We'll have to see. The next week's a recap show as well. We'll have to see. But it was an episode that did have Tony Khan. They were kind of plugging Omega. So,
what's kind of hurt Impact is that they have not gotten the chance to appear on AEW. And this is once again hinted by Tony Khan last night was saying, you're welcome to come on AEW TV. And once again, we didn't see him. So I feel like we've missed that window to where if Impact guys show up next week, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, I think they had that 3 weeks to show up, but now we're getting to the point where it would seem like it's at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we had reported back that the two groups weren't going to be too intertwined. We did say that Kenny Omega appeared to be a one-off. Apparently, obviously, that's not the case. He's going to do a couple more. Yeah, I mean, you're seeing it now. I don't think Impact was mentioned at all tonight, except during Don Callis, he kind of mentioned it in passing. And his contract is actually up next month with Impact, so we'll see what happens there. Chris Pantaleo saying, Hager reminds me of 60s bully like Biff from Back to the Future. A Biff character would be awesome.
Yeah, he could probably pull that off, actually, yeah.
Damn it. Thank you, Terry. Raj, your microphone's not activated. Let me know if you can hear me okay now.
Yeah.
It wasn't activated. That's true. Good. Jeez. Tech issues. Jody Shauna Jenkins saying 3 things that I don't have clarity on. Kenny Omega, Retribution, and Shawn Spears.
Shawn Spears thing was interesting.
I wonder what she means about Shawn Spears. I agree with everything he said tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that here. Let's start running through this. So up next, we had the Jurassic Express versus the Dark Order, Jungle Boy Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt versus 5 and 10 and Colt Cabana. As you would guess, the Jurassic Express get the win. I pointed this out on Twitter. I think JR keeps calling Jungle Boy Jungle Boy Jack Perry or Jungle Jack Perry, and I think that sounds way better than Jungle Boy. I agree with JR on that. It sounds more like a main event wrestler name than Jungle Boy.
Yeah. Jungle Boy's so generic.
It is, and when he matures into more of a man, it's going to be weird to be calling him Jungle Boy, right? Kind of like HBK, Sean, you know what I mean? It's like Heartbreak Kid. They stopped calling him that. That's why they started calling him HBK. But real quick, I think the ire that JR draws from the fans is that he's not doing it on purpose, bro. He's doing it because he keeps forgetting the freaking kid's name. That's the way it comes across sometimes. At least in the beginning, you got to admit.
Yeah.
They might
Like
be
he
doing
was
that because he is Luke Perry's son. Maybe they just want the Perry name out there so that there is something that people can, reach out onto.
Which makes sense. I like that he calls him that. I'm being honest. But at first, he wasn't doing it to do anybody favors. He was doing it because he didn't know who the hell the kid was and kept butchering his name.
Yeah. Guys in the chat, let me know if my audio sounds fine.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Back to that Ricky Starks thing. Taz took offense to something we had tweeted out about Ricky Starks, his look with the sunglasses and the necklace. We had tweeted out a picture of The Rock in 1999. We're kind of wearing the same thing. And
Taz didn't like that because I saw that tweet.
Yeah.
I didn't. My Twitter is the worst, but tell me what I missed. I can't tell me what I missed.
So we tweeted out this picture. I mean, The Rock in 1999. It's this picture, the same necklace, similar sunglasses. The shirt, and he just tweeted out this picture of Rock from '99. And so Taz wrote,
"What did Taz do?
Why can't Ricky Starks be the first Ricky Starks? He is so effing good on the mic and in ring. Please don't put him in a box of he reminds me of that guy garbage like some fans do. Because he has fashion sense with looks, it's weak IMO, in my opinion."
Wow. Okay,
see, this is the thing.
To have his opinion.
Yeah, of course. And this is the thing about, and this has happened a lot throughout pandemic wrestling, is that there's these taped shows. So sometimes people will be tweeting something, and the wrestlers are right there watching it, so you get pulled up on,
Well,
the wrestlers are watching it. So, you say something, they'll be like, oh, what did you say about me?
Yeah, and this wasn't a knock on Starks. If anything, that's as big of a compliment as you can get. Like saying that you remind someone of The Rock. That's not a knock, and that's huge.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And I'll still say it right now. I don't think he fits your group, brother. I do not. He's not somebody beating people's asses. I don't believe he can beat anybody up in a fight. The rest of your group, hell yes, I do. Especially, dude.
Those monsters.
Definitely Cage. But dude, they keep having to do the Debo gimmick on all these other dudes, not podcasts, but YouTube channel shows. Oh. Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah.
You guys have got to see. I know you don't like watching these other shows, but the Guevara show and whatnot, watch it because he does it so well. And if that's where they go with him, it's money. He does it so well. And I like the fact last week on Impact, he took a step towards Sting. Like, what? And
right.
I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting
how to get held back.
I like it. I like so like when I see Ricky Starks in there, and like he's like when he comes out with them, he looks like their little brother. Or out of place. I'm just being honest, and he's a pretty boy. Taz ain't hanging out with no pretty boys. Are you kidding me? He's Taz, Red Hook, and same with the other two badasses walking out with him. They fit. They're gonna beat somebody's ass in a dark alley, no question. Ricky Starks, I'm not saying it's a knock. I'm saying it doesn't fit the shtick, in my opinion. But
right.
To your point, Matt, there was one point where Ricky Starks, like, Taz called them all wolves, and Ricky Starks just started barking, and, like, Will Hobbs just kind of pulled him back like he was Scrappy Doo. He's just like, okay, just hold on, man, stop barking. So it kind of seemed, like, awkward in terms of Ricky Starks reacting that way.
Yeah, man. And he's super, by himself, though, Ricky Starks is a star. By himself. Doing something different that plays up to, like I said, pretty boy, good-looking dude, shredded, and is really good in the ring, obviously.
Yeah. I would say, it's not like Wrestling Inc. was comparing Ricky to Otis. Right. Exactly. After the match, Tony Schiavone interviewed the Jurassic Express, and he talked about the rise in the rankings. Before Marco Stunt can get a sentence in, you see a backstage promo with FTR and Tully Blanchard. Blanchard talked about FTR being the tag team of the year. He called Jurassic Express Jurassic Park, and called him out for a match on January 6th. He said dinosaurs aren't going to take him down, and he said that Marco Stunt, if he tries to get involved, we'll have a flashback to the 80s. And Marco Stunt, for some reason, just got all worked up over that line, which seemed so forced. I think Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, I think there's tons of potential there. Mark was stunned. He just came across as a baby. Like a child throwing a tantrum. It just, I don't know. I think he brings them down a little bit sometimes.
Yes, he definitely does. Of course he does.
I had to go back and listen to what the line was because I heard him say, bring it back to the 80s. And then when I saw Marco's reaction, I was like, wait, what? Did he say something else? What did he say that deserves that reaction?
Right.
And all he said was he was going to take it back to the 80s. I was so confused.
Like, if he said, really take it back to the 80s when I banged your mother, then that's one thing.
Yeah, I was wondering, is there some story that we don't know about? Why is he getting so mad?
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so next we had Alex Marvez trying to interview Don Callis and Kenny Omega at the hotel. Omega basically just ripping Rey Fenix, saying he's choked whenever he had an opportunity. He threatened to put Phoenix out for good and asked if Callis would rehire Phoenix if, once he was done with them. Callis didn't seem like he was keen on that. And that was about it. It was just Omega, ripping Phoenix. The one thing I didn't like about this segment, and I know size doesn't always matter and everything like that, but Omega was the smallest guy in this segment. Like, Alex Marvez is bigger than him, or at least taller, and same with Don Callis, of course.
So is Callis.
Yeah.
They need to do the old school shit, man. The problem is Don Callis comes to the ring with him, so all that's revealed, unfortunately, that he's taller. But like Marvez, I'm sorry, brother, do the split leg, hold the mic. Get yourself smaller. I'm serious. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. And I actually like this promo from Kenny Omega. It was a really good promo in terms of what he was saying about Rey Fenix.
It was.
At one point he said, "You get hurt, I get titles." So I just really thought it was good. I just thought it made him look so minor league, where it's like we cut to our world champion outside of the building in the dark with, you know what I mean? I want to see the world champion if they're going to cut a promo, get their music, and he comes off like such a superstar that when you see those superstar entrances week after week, on a show where he's just outside cutting a kind of a backstage promo, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, what's Kenny Omega doing just cutting a promo in a throwaway segment as opposed to getting the fanfare that I think he deserves as the world champion?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And I agree. I thought it was a good promo. Omega coming across as, he's a heel. He's really unlikable. Yeah. You want to see him get his ass kicked, and I thought that was really effective.
He still struggles a little bit in his verbiage when you listen to him talk with how, and not just how he pronounces words, but his voice inflection is still incorrect from time to time on words that you're supposed to be using to drive home your point or to be super aggressive with. Like, he was talking about fucking him up, and I don't know, because this is one of his better promos, so I don't want to crap on it too much, because it was a good promo for him. He still continues to work on his voice inflections. That's all. Yeah.
And the one thing I did not like about the promo is it didn't do anything to make me more excited about the match. And usually that's what a good promo does.
But you're right. But for what it's worth, that match for me,
yes,
as a bell-to-bell mark, I like this
exactly.
match is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, like we're already excited for it, but the promo didn't add to it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't add to it.
Yeah. Next we had Pac versus the Butcher. I mean, again, I think this was one of those shows. Again, it's a holiday week. They're not bringing out the big guns. I think every match on this show was pretty predictable on who's going to win. And here, I'm sure everyone predicted that Pac was going to win, and he did. The Butcher, I think he's growing on me. Like, I wish they would do more of those promos where they were in the butcher shop and they were like chopping up meat.
So, listen, small story. He was growing on me until I was going into YouTube rabbit holes, and Jim Cornette's podcast came up where they were listening to what's the videos people do? What are they called? Undertaker's TikTok? Been doing it. You get paid to have somebody say happy birthday to you.
What's it called?
TikTok.
No. You pay somebody to say happy birthday to you.
Oh,
Cameo.
So, dude, you can hear his cameo, the Butcher, and dude, he did everything to talk about how he's not like a professional wrestler. He's just an average Joe. Don't call him Butcher. It was just like, dude, like, okay, we can be humble as wrestlers in real life. I get that. But, brother, they're paying money to see the Butcher.
Right. He should be chopping meat doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I love it.
And it was just so mild mannered. Like if I could just hear it, and because I could just hear it, I'm like, that does not sound like walrus mustache having, beef trying to chew in, chopping, butcher.
Yeah.
I actually gone the opposite way.
He's good in the ring.
Huge. Yeah, I used to love the Butcher. But I mean, in recent weeks, I just feel like they keep tinkering with him. Like he's switching his gear up constantly. Like right now, he's got this new gear where it looks like a matador. He's wearing like capris and stuff like that. And he used to look like just like an old school badass heel. When there
should be like blood stains on it from the butcher shop, and
he used to look great, but I've just kind of gotten lukewarm on him recently. And I'll tell you, my problem with this match was that Eddie Kingston and Tony Schiavone are insanely entertaining on commentary because they just do this bit where they just hate each other and they're going back and forth. And yes, they were way too entertaining because that's all I cared about. Like eventually, and this is the Pac match. This is one of the best in the world. Eventually, that completely overtook my interest where I was popping for everything that was going on commentary. Too. I couldn't tell you one thing that happened in this match.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. There was one time when Tony Schiavone shut up Eddie Kingston. He was like, "Let me promote next week's show," you know. And he's like, "Okay." But other than that, I thought this was it was still a good match, and Pac with the win. After the match,
to be fair, go ahead. After the match, go ahead and say that. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Lance Archer came out at the end. And him and Kingston were drawing back and forth, and then later Lance Archer came in the ring, and him and Pac were face to face. So that was about it.
So real quick, when they have to do the IDs and whatnot, even though that this is a taped show, right? Mm-hmm. You get that sent to you in the headset, and so there's nobody on this planet that can shut Eddie Kingston up ever in any environment, is my belief, because I think he's ruthless on the mic. So my only theory on that, because I got that too, Raj, that vibe. I was like, why is he not cutting him right now? And my only thing I could come up with as an excuse is that he's not on there enough to know when those get sent to you, and you're generally supposed to lay out and shut the fuck up. Why they quickly try to plug it, and as a wrestler, you want the announcer to quickly plug it to get back to talking about the damn match because your boys are in the ring busting their ass. Your other wrestlers. The thing that drives us nuts about wrestlers is when the announcers are plugging other angles, or worse, plugging like upcoming house shows and TV events while you're out there busting your ass. It's not even a rest hold that the person's in when they're doing it. It's like in the middle of like a high spot and stuff, or a comeback. I used to hate that. I just think it was very disrespectful. It's like, tell my story. That's what you're out there to do, jerk.
Right. No, that makes sense. So anyway, next we had a backstage segment with Jade Cargill saying that she congratulated Brandy Rhodes for being a fellow mother, commenting on the recent pregnancy news, and saying she wants them to find an opponent worth her time. Now, I think it's probably time for Jade to get some wins so we can see her win some matches.
Yes.
On Dynamite.
Yes, on Dynamite, not on Dark.
Perfect. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so now listen, we've got to stop being careful now, because I agree with what you guys have said, for the record. I want to see her get some stacked up wins on Dynamite. I want to see those two tag teams get stacked up, get built up on Dynamite as well. But guys, when you start doing that, you start losing time off the show, and eventually we're not going to see some of the stars that we like to see. So this is why they desperately need another show.
Yeah. Here's the one problem. If they do another show, it has to be taped separately, because once you're the tape show, you're automatically the B show. Like if they tape it after Dynamite, once we're back to regular crowds and everything, it's automatically the B show. And it's like you almost have to have a separate taping.
How do you? But to be, you're right. That is what it would feel like. But if we're just coming out of COVID, right? Fans aren't really allowed back in the arena, full capacity at least yet. To save money, you know what I mean? If they do that, like, what do you do? Because you give one nail into the coffin already by doing the tape show, like you said. But do you have the funds? I don't know. This guy's a billionaire supposedly, so maybe I'm wrong. He can just throw money
They're
around
gonna
like
have
that.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna have the means to do
separate.
that. Because they're definitely gonna have another show. I think in 2021. I don't know if that's gonna get delayed because of COVID or whatnot. But I definitely agree that it shouldn't be taped on the same show. Also, because the crowd's only going to be so hot if you're doing multiple shows in one taping and trying to get it all done in one shot.
Yes,
you want a fresh crowd for that second show, so it can feel like its own thing.
Yeah, and it should have a different look too. You don't want it, I mean, WCW, they tried it with Thunder, and they never got there with it. Thunder was always the B show. Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown, until they went to Fox, was always the B show. And to have two A shows, that's always a challenge.
Word on the street is this show's going to be called Elevation. So what if they just put a wrestling ring on top of a huge tall hotel building, like they do in those foreign countries, like when they play tennis on top of those super tall 1,000-foot skyscrapers, and you elevate it in the sky. All
right, you just do it in Colorado at the top of a ski lift.
There you go.
There you go. And we got Dr. Childer saying, I agree with the whole Butcher cameo thing, but never listen to Cornett. He's a full-on hater of the modern-day product. I agree. Look, he brings up good points as well.
He's definitely not a fan.
Right.
When he talks about ring psychology is very true. But by the same token, you're correct. He's definitely not a fan of the modern-day wrestling.
Yes, yeah. You got to take it with a grain of salt.
I grew up under Jimmy with my training and tutelage, so I grew up really liking old school wrestling, telling a story, heel working a body part. But then I became a wrestler more and more and more. Years went by, and I started to see the transition of wrestling and the athleticism. So as an athlete is why I mark out huge nowadays and watching AEW and whatnot, because of the athletic stuff that they're able to pull off. Now, would I like to see it all be swished into one? Great ring psychology, working a body part, and that athleticism, yes. But by the same token, I'm not going to be a veteran that sits back because it's not my era anymore and shit on it. Instead, I'm going to try to, offer my suggestions here and there, but at the same time, cheerlead them.
Right. I mean, there are points that Jim Cornette makes that are very valid. But at the same time, he almost discredits so much of it because he's so anti, that it's almost hard to listen to him because
he makes. So there's a lot of good points he'll make that just gets tuned out, unfortunately, because everything is generally very negative, right? But I'll be honest, I listen to him like he's right. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. You might not like how he delivered the message, but he's right on this. And how wrestling today, he's one of the very first ones I heard about the, guys all getting outside the ring together and waiting for somebody to do the stupid dive right on top of them. Right. They don't even fight anymore when they're outside, fighting.
Yeah, they're just standing there
anymore. They literally just stand next to each other. You know what I mean? So the element of suspension of disbelief is getting lazy.
Right.
Of making fans suspend their disbelief, right?
Yeah.
But at the same token, what I disagree with him on, the cat's been out of the bag for so long now that something has got to change in this business. I don't know what that is. I still think we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's still something that's out there we haven't seen yet that will be the next, I don't want to say attitude era, but when WWE started to do that and WCW started using real names and going in that real-ish shoot brother type of a direction, right? And then before that, it was a huge over-the-top, jacked-up wrestlers that were these larger-than-life comic book heroes and villains.
Right.
Every generation had its own thing.
Right.
I still waiting to see, besides athleticism, what's this one's.
Yeah. Just athleticism and in-ring work has a very limited audience. And once you can get the story and the characters, like with any movie, you don't go to a movie just for a bunch of fight scenes with characters you don't care about. I mean, or, the movies that do that, they're not huge. It's superhero movies where you care about.
Let me piggyback on that because that's actually a really good point. You just clicked that in my head. That makes perfect sense. When you go see these, you're right. You go to a movie I heard the fight scene's amazing.
Right, like Creed. The fight scene at the end is great in Creed. You don't go to Creed for the fight scene.
That's not why you go. You go because you want to hear what's going on with Creed's son Is he going to win? Is he going to win the title? Is he going to completely get embarrassed? Who's his opponent? Holy crap! I heard it's this huge monster.
And Rocky, and he's Apollo's son.
A little bit about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we know these backstories. Therefore, we're emotionally invested in them going into it. Right. And there's something to be said. You're right for that. Yep.
100%. If you even look at WWE and when they were actually doing relatively well, because their ratings have been terrible all year, but when they had their higher point of ratings, it was when the most drama was happening. It was at the intersection of Roman Reigns doing the tribal chief thing, Seth Rollins and the Mysterio family, which say what you want to say, but that was a lot of drama that people connected to. And then Bayley and Sasha Banks' breakup. When they were doing all the storytelling, that's when the ratings were highest. Bayley and Sasha Banks kicking off SmackDown did its highest number, I believe, all year, or highest quarter, because that was parsed, and these two were best friends for months, if not years, and then now they're blowing that up. So it's the drama that's always going to capture people.
Exactly. They're not tuning in to hoping that you get a good match. You're tuning in because who's wrestling each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the misperception. Younger fans today will make the mistake of saying, well, of course, it's Bayley versus Sasha. Those two are the best of the best in the ring. No. Well, yes, they are. But no, that's not why people are tuning in. People are tuning in because we know everything there is to know about both. That's why. Yeah.
Exactly. And so we just launched on Twitch, and Corey Dan the Fourth saying, watching live on Twitch. Good show, guys. Been following wrestling for 3 years now. Thank you so much.
Wow.
And follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Wrestling Inc. And the podcasts are airing live. That's the Twitch logo.
Logo? Is that what that is?
This little thing here, the little pause sign or electrical outlet. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah. Disgruntled Justice Lopez. I love disgruntled New York Jets fan because I'm a disgruntled Broncos fan. AEW did copyright the name Elevation. That might be the name of the second show. And yes, that's what it appears like it will be. Jack Scallons, our good friend, saying, here's some Christmas chat, money to the pod. Merry Christmas. Time for bed. Much love from my family to all of yours. And same here.
Way to rub it in. Time for bed. We still got to work.
Yeah, really. Come on.
Come on, Jax.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, really.
Thank you, brother.
I'll be right back.
And Bobby Burns is going to take wrestling into the next stratosphere. Oh, man, Matt missed the burn.
I think he was waiting for Matt to leave, and then he stepped back.
Bobby Burns is going to take wrestling into the next stratosphere. Morgan, get ready. Yeah, Mark. All right. All right. So up next we had Dustin Rhodes beating Evil Uno. I don't think we need. Oh wait. Up next we had Shivani with Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, Miro. They announced. So they showed some backstage footage of them basically beating up their best friends and sending them out on an ambulance. And they announced that they're going to have a beach wedding February 3rd at Beach Break. They're not using Bash at the Beach because now WWE got that trademark back. It's called Beach Break now, February 3rd, and that's where the wedding is going to be.
That should be interesting. I was very surprised that it wasn't January 6th because that was the date that we just kept hearing, so I just automatically assumed it would be. But, I mean, this is a storyline that's been built and built and built and built, and now we're going to get another month of it, and they haven't had one match, I believe, in terms of this storyline paying off. So, I mean, whatever they have planned for the wedding, hopefully it's really good because they've put a lot of time into the storytelling aspect of this feud.
Yeah. Matt, we were talking about Miro and the wedding date. Can you hear us, Matt?
Dude, nobody cares about their... Yeah. Yes. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, there's still a huge drawback because you laughed like 3 seconds after I said my sentence. So, are you sure?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you. I feel like I can hear you fine.
All right. So, real quick, the wedding stuff is so corny. Nobody cares about Kip. No offense, Kip. You're good in the ring. No, it's no disrespect to him. He's playing a character. He's paid that they're writing for him, right? It's not his fault. But it's boring as hell. I don't care about it. I care more about Penelope Ford. She needs to dump him and become a singles superstar like tomorrow. She has everything it takes, and he is holding her back big time. And he's also killing Miro. However, with that said, I felt tonight was a great step in the positive direction of Miro looking like a friggin' monster.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they've been wasting Miro too. Like he's just
They
this.
have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in a freaking. Can we even call it a mid-card act? No, it's a lower card act.
Yeah. I mean, you totally forget his stuff by the time the show's over. It's not one of the things that sticks with you. Yeah. Another Twitch user, Skibo, thank you, saying Spears' segment was great, but Tony shouldn't have interrupted it.
It was.
I think that was the point, was for Tony to get under his skin.
Did you guys get to Spears yet? You already did?
Did we miss that?
We haven't gotten to it yet. I don't think we've missed it. It happened later on in the show.
Okay, so real quick, Dustin Rhodes beat Evil Uno. Just got to say this about Dustin Rhodes. He looks fantastic. I mean, Jesus. When I started watching wrestling, I saw his first match, with Ted DiBiase in WWF. I know he had a couple before that, but that was like 1990. And here we are 30 years later, and he still looks great. It's nuts.
He does. He really does.
Yeah, so after the match, Schiavone, that's where we had the backstage segment of Shawn Spears. Spears was saying he's more talented than anyone in the world and says his confidence is still high even if the 3 letters change. Basically saying he's not getting opportunities in AEW and WWE.
He's not.
He kind of threw
stuff. Coal miner's glove is corny as hell. All that stuff, corny as hell.
Well, this was one of those things when... and they never really sold it on Dynamite. It was like on Dark, and again, if you're not doing it on Dynamite, people don't see it.
But here's the gauge, okay? When he first came out to AEW, if you remember, with their fans still there, he had one of the biggest pops. Mm-hmm. That is the company's job from that moment on.
Keep that momentum.
Recreate that pop every single time with how they write for him. And the talent's job, to be fair, as well. But he's not the talent to mess that up. He is good. He's good on the mic. His sit-down interviews that he was doing with JR back at first, if you remember, those were freaking money, too. He's a good heel. He's awesome in the ring. He's not just a good hand. I think he's a star. He's bigger than everybody as well. He looks like a real athlete that can kick your ass in a real fight as well, which I like out of my wrestlers, right? I like some believability. And I just think they've done him wrong. I really do. They've written some terrible crap for him.
Married to Peyton Royce, he's doing something right.
Yeah.
but Alfred, he's right in what he said tonight. I agree with every word he said tonight.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. This is Shawn Spears playing Shawn Spears. Like, I really like how real the character felt. It's a complete departure from that glove gimmick because that's an old wrestling gimmick that doesn't have any character development behind it. What he did tonight was like you really sat down and saw a guy as an individual who is a professional wrestler who takes pride in his work, who has all the tools to be a star. Everything he said was right. And I like the self-awareness of the segment in that they had Tony bring up the valid point that Matt brought up. Hey, what if it's you? What if it's the talent? Don't you have some accountability? And like a heel, he didn't take the accountability. He said, no. Like, yeah, I'll acknowledge that point, but no, you guys are supposed to make me a star. And I just like everything about this. So the thing is consistency, right? He came back, he was hot, but then he wasn't on TV every week. So if he could just be on TV every week developing a character like this, I remember they did this news gimmick with him, and he did a really good job on that. Shawn Spears is a talented guy. He has every right to be frustrated. They need to keep using him. And you listen, I don't want to blame the company. It is partly his fault. But like I would like to see him get an opportunity for at least 5 weeks doing this character.
Yes, and that's the big thing is you see a lot of these guys because they have so much talent in AEW right now. Powerhouse Hobbs is a perfect example. All these guys, Brian Cage, where you see them getting some momentum and then they're kind of off of TV or just in the background for a few weeks, and it's hard to sustain that momentum. Look at
Jurassic Express.
Yeah,
Jurassic Express couldn't get on TV in like months.
Yeah, so. Ethan Kaufman saying, what New Year's show is better on paper? I say NXT.
NXT.
I think NXT.
Yeah, and they're really doing a good job building that. I like some of the stuff. We'll get into it, but some of the stuff they did tonight was really cool.
Yeah. All right, so let me kind of finish this real quick. Hikaru Shida beat Alex Garcia after the match. Abaddon was in the crowd with everyone else, and Hikaru Shida beat the crap out of her. Or I guess it was during the match. And so that match was announced. So they're going to do that match. I'm forgetting if it's next week or the week after. I'll double check.
Just for the sheer fact that we still have to cover NXT, all right? And I actually want to celebrate Christmas this year.
We'll go back.
Trust me, fans, I want to tear this apart on how a monster was just hanging out in the audience. No big deal. One of the fans.
And she didn't look flattering after she was taken out, like just laying there for like,
Telling a lie. I didn't know that. I couldn't believe my eyes. She was like laid out for like 5 minutes.
Right. At least set her on fire. Isn't that what we do now?
Yeah. That's how we get rid of monsters.
And then finally the main event, the Young Bucks beat the Acclaimed. A good fun match. Exactly what you would expect. At the end, Caster, he ate a super kick and the BTE trigger, and the Young Bucks won. So, good fun match.
You know what?
And I thought the Acclaimed looked like stars.
Me too.
They look like they belonged.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing, and I'm not even saying they're bad wrestlers or whatnot, but that's one of the areas that they're going to need to kind of level up on if they want to be main event stars. And yeah, of course they're going to have the Young Bucks lead them, but I thought they looked amazing in that match.
If I were to think of like talent on the show that WWE would want, I could see the Acclaimed being at the top of that.
Of course,
because they got charisma.
They have muscles too. P.S. They
Yeah.
go to the gym. They work out. They do that.
They look the part.
They're not scrawny little wimps. Also, I think I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Bucks, I don't like the the BTE trigger as a finisher. Why are they playing off of Kenny Omega's finisher? I still don't like that. Because they're part of being the elite. I don't care. Bang for your buck to me was the coolest finisher. I still think it is. More bang for your buck, where it's a double. You know what I'm talking about? You've seen them do that. Where it finishes with.
Sure. Yeah. It's a really good. I will say that's the BTE trigger is a lot more believable as something that'll knock you out. And when you watch More Bang for Your Buck, it's a lot of choreography, and you know what I mean.
It's pretty.
Which is a fun finisher to watch.
Pretty.
But to see two guys knee you in the face, it's like, oh man, they messed that guy up.
It's gonna knock your ass out.
But you don't have a problem with your world champion using that as his finisher,
Right? They're kind of using the same move.
Right.
The same name.
That is.
I don't know. I like I love their athleticism. The Bucks. That's why I've always marked for them. Because they're always innovators on double team tandem offense. And that's why I like the other younger tag team, because they do it too. What come on, I'm getting old. What's the two young guys that kicked off the show?
Top Flight.
Top Flight does it too. I love their tandem offense.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, overall a fun show, but this was also one where if you missed it, you can miss it.
Yeah.
Alfred, you want to run through NXT?
Yeah, let's get into
Alfred,
NXT so we can celebrate some Christmas. Yeah, I'll drive. All right, get out of the car then, man. Come on, what are you doing? Okay, so we get right into Lorcan and Birch versus Dane and Maverick. I will tell you this match fell apart. I liked where they were going and the stuff they had planned, but around the time that Dane made his comeback, he does a belly-to-belly to Danny Birch, almost lands on his neck, like almost breaks this guy's neck. Very scary spot. And then he gets to the apron. They bump him, and this is a street fight, so they set up the tables. There's a brawl at first. The babyfaces, Dane and Maverick, are wearing jeans, and they have two tables set up. The big spot was supposed to be Dane going to the tables. He overshoots the table, hits one of them barely. It looks like the least painful spot. Neither of the tables break. The plants in the NXT audience were even booing, and he had to sell this for like 5 minutes. Drake gets whipped with a strap. He gets beaten up with a cricket bat. And they hit their double team finisher on him and win the match. This was really kind of an ugly match.
It was.
You know, the guys are very talented, but I really did not enjoy this match.
No, my question is this: How do you think that happened? How was it possible that he missed?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do see that, but it's kind of an easy bump. It's a lot harder. They hit that ladder spot a lot, but from the apron to the tables, you would think would be an easier bump. But I think he just jumped too far. He definitely overshot one of the tables, and then when he did it, it wasn't even like he hit the table and landed on his head, so it looked painful. It was like he laid down on the table and then fell off of the table. And he's this big monster, and it really exposed. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I gotta say, when I was watching this, I was thinking just like Oney Lorcan and Birch, Danny Birch, and Killian Dane. These guys should stay in NXT because they're not going to make it on the main roster. Like, they're good in NXT.
And they are for little, small segments. I don't like them on my TV every week. No offense to them. I hate saying that. Because I feel like when I say that, I'm crapping on talent that is working really hard. They're trying to live their dream, right? And here I am crap. I hate that. I don't like doing it. But they're boring to me.
Yeah. They're good in the ring. Drake Maverick, I always feel like they could find something for him because he is so entertaining.
So entertaining. So underutilized, in my opinion. I could watch him now. We're talking about him by himself. I can watch him every segment. I think he's the funniest man.
Yeah. Real quick, Hojo Togi Belinsky saying, Abaddon bit Shida. Didn't we have that happen last year? Did she bit? Oh, I must have missed that.
Yes. No,
he did?
He's correct.
Oh, I didn't.
Absolutely.
I totally missed that.
Oh, no. Yeah, Abaddon did bite her tonight. I was wondering about last year, but yeah, she did bite her, and I guess they had the blood effect, so that was kind of a crazy-looking gimmick.
Oh, geez. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Abaddon was in the audience. I just want to repeat that, okay?
Yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go to a Gargano Christmas. These are segments that are happening throughout. We've got the Gargano action figure on top of the Christmas tree. We have some gifts that are giving away. This was very funny. WWE, when it comes to their puns, they're either terrible or they're actually pretty clever. And this is pretty clever because he gave Austin Theory, who's just looking jacked. He's wearing a sleeveless sweater. Just looking
huge.
Big.
We were talking last week, me and Raj, about how gigantic he looks since coming back. And so he got, they're the whey. So he got the protein whey shake. So it's a protein shake that he's just drinking on. And they made a reference to No Way Jose, which Johnny Gargano got hot about. So do not ever mention that name in this house. That was kind of weird. And the footage is shot on this like camcorder type of like Christmas morning camcorder footage with the recording on the corner. It was really funny.
Yeah,
kind of a fun segment.
A lot of they've won me over, these guys. I wanted nothing to do with him as a heel. I thought it was unbelievable. He'll never be considered a heel. How could he? He's David. Everybody else is Goliath. This won't make sense. He's done a great job with this. I'm sorry. He's done so well. He's getting Austin Theory over now.
Yeah.
I'm being dead serious. Like, Johnny's doing a great job. We got to give him props.
Gargano, and he was the star in these segments. He came across. I mean, he was great.
Excellent, and I just love the homing feel of. They've got the framed picture of all four of them in the house. It's just everything about this gimmick is just clicking.
Yeah.
Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly.
Is that the real house, or is that? Do you think they?
You know what? I think it might be. It looks like a functioning house, and they use the same house every single time. It might just be them shooting segments at home.
Yeah.
I think it might be.
We should ask him. We just interviewed him a couple weeks ago. We should ask him.
Sure. Yeah. I'd love to answer that. Ask him where the address is. Like, okay, so where is that? We don't see it.
Yeah.
Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly. They're watching film of their match. I wish wrestling did more stuff like this, to where they're just watching film of the match. They're going over the big spots that happened. They're talking about them like really what they would do if you ever watch that show. I think it's called WWE Break It Down, where they're just watching their matches. They're doing that for the camera, and at one point, they really get into Finn Balor's jaw being broken. So I like the line that they're using where they said, Finn Balor said, nobody even remembers who won this match. You just remember that my jaw is broken. So now you kind of wipe out the fact that Kyle O'Reilly lost, and this is the story. Kyle O'Reilly said, last time I shattered your jaw, this time I'll shatter your legacy.
Dude, I agree with you. They need to do more like this. They really do. They also did that. Remember that match I wouldn't shut up about, Raj? The WWE UK match that I sent you and Glenn to watch?
Yes.
They did a thing on the network where they had all the other WWE stars watching it and getting their reaction to it. There's something to be said for something like that as well. And it's real stuff that they do on NBA as well. It's you watch game film, you get to watch the stars watch game film, if you will, and give their feedback on it. And it adds so much more legitimacy to it. It makes it feel like a real sport. It does. I like it. I like tonight. I like what they did tonight with this.
Yeah. I feel like whenever they do like a sports build-up for matches, it's usually huge. They did it. I remember for The Rock and Brock Lesnar, they did it way back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Videos.
Yeah.
The videos were awesome.
It was awesome.
Brock, those were the first clips that we started seeing of Brock running around with freaking logs on his shoulder.
In the woods.
Yeah. And that pay-per-view did so well. I wish they would do that more because it works. Sometimes when you throw in stupid storylines, like I always think of Vince McMahon and Bret Hart. Once Vince hit Bret with a car and then all that stuff happened, it just diluted that whole thing.
Yeah.
When you already had the built-in storyline. You could have just had them rewatching Montreal, and the screw job and giving their take on it. But instead, you had Vince hitting him with a car.
Could you imagine if they did that? Like they went through McFoley, like all the talents that were supposedly really pissed at Vince for doing this.
Yeah.
and they give him the real opinion on it. Like, oh my god,
yes,
that probably
they blew it.
16.
Be amazing.
16.
Yeah, they really screwed that up. And that pay-per-view, you were talking about how well SummerSlam did. WrestleMania with Bret Hart and Vince, one of the worst WrestleManias that they ever had.
Right.
In terms of drawing.
Yeah.
They went to Malcolm Bivens and Tyler Rust are backstage. Malcolm Bivens is awesome, but he has this line where he says, Tyler Rust is a diamond in the rust, which seems like what they're going to say, and I don't like. I'm a big fan of Tyler Rust. As you know, I saw him last week. It was love at first sight. I think this guy is amazing.
Right,
but diamond in the rust was just. This is one of those puns that are terrible for WWE.
Wait, explain it. Dummy it down more for me. What do you mean? Like, did I
they
miss
just
it?
said it's like diamond in the rough, but his name is Rust.
Right.
Diamond in the rust. It was just ridiculous. It's a new tagline they're probably going to use. We're probably going to get the T-shirt that say "Diamond in the Rust." I just wasn't a fan of it.
I still think he's a very good promo. I think he's a very underrated promo.
Oh, for sure.
Bivens.
Yeah.
Bivens or Rust?
Bivens.
Yeah.
Bivens is good.
Yes, he is.
We need more guys that can help talk for other guys.
Yes, we do.
They're doing everything right. This is a guy that you can tell they're really excited about in Tyler Rust because they're doing everything right with him in terms of get him a manager, just showcase all his cool moves. We go to Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Jake Atlas. This was one hell of a match. I absolutely love this. They're talking up the different side of Swerve Scott. Swerve's getting frustrated the more he can't put Jake Atlas away. At one point, they're kind of scuffling around with the referee, and the referees get distracted a little bit, and Swerve hits a back headbutt. So kind of a bit of a cheap move, and then he hits a confidence boost for the win. So the story of this match is just Swerve is essentially going heel, and he beats Jake Atlas.
Why I like this, because Swerve is, the proverbial baby face. Like, it's going to be tough to buy him as a heel, but I will say, because his offense is very flashy, it's very forward, fashion, whatever you want to call it. He's innovative, but usually screams and tends to be a babyface, lends to be a better babyface. But with that said, I always tell you guys this, that you've got to get a run as a heel first when you're young and you're new to get what I always tell you guys about, which is have the ability to change gears. And during the heat of the match, remember, you cover a guy 1-2, he kicks out. You immediately have got to start whipping his ass. How dare you kick out, mother bleeper? Boom, 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 boom. Mount him, start lighting him up. Or put him in the corner, shoot him off, give him a big boot to the face. Now what? Kick out of my shit again, mother bleeper. Like, you've got to kick it up into fifth gear. And that's what your inner monologue should be saying to yourself while you're talking smack to your opponent, because you're so irate, you kicked out of your stuff. So changing gears comes from being a heel, and he needs that. Because Swerve Scott's got crazy talent for days. I like him a lot, so I'm excited to see what they do with him. And hopefully we can get that aggression out of him that he still needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Hojo Togo Belinsky saying Shayna bit Becky in the last 18 months, talking, I think, back about the Abaddon thing. Yeah, that's right. That was cool when they did it. When Shayna bit Becky.
That's a vampire, yeah. Oh, no, when there was blood and stuff like that was very different.
Yeah, before WrestleMania.
Yes. They really heated that up. We get Cole and Strong backstage. Adam Cole says that the result's going to be different, kind of putting over Kyle O'Reilly. He's interrupted by the Velveteen Dream. He says the mighty have fallen, which is so ironic coming from Velveteen Dream.
Right.
But he says the mighty have fallen.
This guy two years ago was a can't miss. Possibly headlining WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks ago, man. If Velveteen Dream was a stock, I would be flat broke.
2 years ago, yes.
Yeah, because I would have gone all in on Velveteen Dream.
Same here. All of us, I think, would, because he has everything. He has everything that you need. I'll be honest. I'm shocked he's still there, but hey, it is what it is. He is, and that was a funny line. And that was I wonder, is there any? Was that on purpose, I wonder?
I think there's no coincidence in this business. I think that was a little jab at Velveteen. Because then, they keep making him look silly. Here's something I found out. Adam Cole took exception to Velveteen Dream calling Kyle O'Reilly the head of the snake. Adam Cole claims that there's never been any leader of Undisputed Era. I didn't know that. I thought Adam Cole. Yeah. He said there's never been a leader, and we're all like kind of a collective group. And then he slaps the shit out of the Velveteen Dream, who really sells it. And then he challenges Velveteen to a match. Velveteen is selling this slap up until they had the match. So, still doing a number on Velveteen Dream. Then we get a promo from Thatcher. He's really upset that they pushed him away from the building last week when he was getting in a pull apart with Tommaso Ciampa. So he's going to take liberties out on Leon Ruff. So he's kind of doing the Dean Ambrose thing where he's calling his shot. This is what I'm going to do. He's going to take liberties with Leon Ruff, and then if you're the man you say you are, come stop me. Then we get into Rhea Ripley versus Dakota Kai. This is a pretty good match. It's essentially Rhea Ripley throwing around Dakota Kai, but she's selling her left arm. Raquel comes to the stage because she cannot be ringside. And really quick, here's what I like about this match. They're building up this match by showing the Twitter exchange. And usually that's a very lazy way to build a matchup, but they actually show the actual exchange where, Rhea Ripley said, "I bet you can't do it without Raquel." And then Raquel said, "No, I don't need to be there. They can ban me if they want." And then Regal jumped in, so they showed that whole thing. And so there's a story to this match. Rhea Ripley ends up winning with the Riptide, and then her and Gonzalez get into this huge pull apart with all these referees. And it was really, really cool after.
Rhea Ripley versus Dakota would be a huge match. Huge match normally. Like for me and my fandom, I love both talents. But it was just to obviously get to the Gonzalez. I liked the Gonzalez and the Twitter addition to this, actually. Normally I think it's kind of corny, but they did a good job of the interacting with, implementing the Twitter beef into it. Because that is how it is nowadays, actually. Even in sports, when someone in the NBA is talking smack about LeBron on Twitter, like LeBron calls him out. And then the next day he lights him up for 52 and tells the guy to shut his mouth. That's how it is today in today's society. I prefer, right? I sound like I'm 85 years old saying this, but I prefer smack talking to be, to the dude's face, right? And say, "Look, I think I can beat your ass. What are you gonna do about it?" And then you go out in the street and you fight each other. But it's a different day and age today, and this is how it works. And I liked it though. I thought it was great with Regal having him going there. So you say you could do? Okay, guess what? That's what you're doing tonight. And I thought that was cool. And this is awesome because I love them showcasing Gonzalez. Love it. Yeah.
Could you imagine if Twitter and Instagram were around when we became fans? Like Hogan and Macho Man going off on Twitter.
In all caps.
I saw you looking at Elizabeth. Hashtag getting you back.
Get out of Elizabeth's DMs, brother.
And I will say this because I'm making light of addiction. I'm an addict myself here, folks. But because they were so heavily influenced back in the day, alcohol, pills, whatever have you, you have any idea the drunk tweets that would go out?
Oh my God.
Dude, it would be nonstop. You could never shut off your Twitter. You'd have to stay on it.
Yeah, I think Twitter was after its time. Twitter should have existed in a completely different era. Where it was okay to say the things you get canceled for.
Macho Man using hashtags. I love that idea.
Oh my God. Macho Man would be the only account that I thought. Macho Man, maybe Ultimate Warrior. Like, it would be so
all
great.
caps?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about emojis?
God, that's such a great idea.
What about emojis? Would you completely lose all fandom for like Hulk Hogan if you started like using emojis?
Yeah, I would want to see emojis for Hulk.
Oh man.
A lot of shovels coming from Hulk. We go back to the Gargano Christmas. India Hartwell gets a PS5. She opens it and then finds out there's nothing inside the box. But what she actually gets is even better. This is what I believe is the best pun they've come up with maybe all year. Because Indy Hartwell has a new name from Johnny Wrestling. Her new name is Indie Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen.
That's cute.
Very cute.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
We also get a Toni Storm interview where she is just dressed in this crazy outfit. She's wearing like a leopard skin print coat with a police hat. It's really weird stuff. But she's calling out Io Shirai. She said that she beat Io Shirai at the Mae Young Classic. Io can't beat her, and she'd like a title shot. So very reasonable reasons to want a title shot. I like
exactly, Alfred. You nailed on the head. Those are reasonable. They make sense. It's not a match out of nowhere. And I don't know what you guys thought about the outfit, but like, I'm sorry. Even in that, she looks like a star.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, it was definitely that she pulled it off. She kind of looked like a pimp and the officer who arrested him. She's wearing the top hat.
I just spit out like 3 pieces of chicken, Alfred.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mess with I'd pop Matt Morgan.
Justin Lopez saying on his last show, Cornett said, "She looks as indie as it gets. Go figure her name's indie." That's
well,
Cornett.
No.
Hey, different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah.
Then we get into my favorite, the Xia Li promo, which we are telling a story, ladies and gentlemen.
It is your favorite.
Xia Li.
It is. You gotta do the voice.
Oh, we're getting into this. I'm doing the voice. I learned 2 more words in Chinese, okay? So Xia Li, she's kicking and punching wood, but this time she's not crying, she's not selling, she's a badass, she's tough, she doesn't hurt her. Kicking and punching. In fact, she's going and doing such a good job that the Shifu master, who's usually saying Zai, which is again, he has a new word. He says, Hola! That's enough. He wants her to stop. So then we cut to Boa, and he's taking punishment, getting hit in the back, but he's taking it like a champ. And then he says, Zimwa! That means more. So he's getting punched, he's getting kicked by Xia Li, he's getting hit in the back with a kendo stick. Zimwa! He wants more. He's with the stuff. Xia Li's kicking, punching. Zimwa! Shifu master, finally, he's had enough. He goes, Hola! And Xia Li comes up from the water because she's been in the water, but she's not drowning like earlier. She comes up and she's fine. She's like invincible because it's enough. Enough torture. You've done enough. And they show her face. They show Boa's face. They show the samurai's face. And then we go to dark. So it looks like this group is ready to kind of be a thing. Like 3 badass heels who aren't going to sell a damn thing. What did you guys think about that?
So you do a better job of making me more excited about this than what it was. I did say when this came on tonight, I'm like, Alfred's gonna have jokes on this segment. No question.
I love these things, man.
I hope they don't end these things just so we can keep getting your recaps.
Yes.
Oh, me too.
Yes.
I'm gonna be out of a job if they end these things. I want to see more of it. But this is very interesting. I think this might be something they pay off in that New Year's Evil show because it looks like they're ready to go in terms of, if you've watched the kind of character development they've been doing, before they were getting tortured and crying, and now they're like all, they like being tortured.
It's kind of like Karate Kid, but a darker version. Instead of washing cars, they're,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Punching wood.
Right.
So Bronson Reed goes over Ashanti the Adonis in a squash match. He looked good. I'm glad that they're kind of heating him back up.
Yes, he needs to.
Then,
yes.
Bronson Reed, man, he looked good. He
very good.
I noted on Twitter, it reminds me of Bam Bam Bigelow.
He
very much
better
so.
tonight.
Yeah.
Great headbutt. Io is being asked backstage if she heard Tony's comment. She says yes, and she's going to address him right now. So she goes to the ring, and before she can get the chance, she is mauled by Mercedes Martinez, who, essentially won the NXT lottery by... She was supposed to be in Retribution, but they kind of canned that, so now she's back being a monster in NXT, and that's where she's best.
Oh.
She looked like a killer.
Yes. NXT is the best. Listen to me. Other than Roman Reigns on SmackDown and Sasha Banks, NXT is the best WWE show for my money watching wrestling. It's my favorite WWE show. So she's on, in my opinion, a better show, a more well-written show, a show that makes more sense, a way more stacked women's division, and she gets booked like a star. She won the lottery, is a great way to put it. And I love seeing her back. I love seeing her being put in this role. This was great. I'm happy for her.
Do you think Mia Yim is just so freaking jealous and pissed that Mercedes got out of this?
Gonna lie, the other shoe in my head mentally did drop of like, but poor Mia. Poor Mia, because this is bullshit. Yeah.
Too bad.
Alejandra Villarreal saying, Matt, did you ever wrestle in Mexico at AAA when TNA had a partnership with them? Also love your podcast, guys.
Triple Mania just once. I did one Triple Mania. I couldn't even tell you. We wrestled against, what's the clown guys? Insane Clown?
The ICP?
Not them, but something else. They wear clown masks. They're luchadors.
Oh, the Murder Clown?
That was one.
There's a Murder Clown. There's a Psycho Clown.
Psycho Clown was another. There was 3 of them at the time.
There's another one.
Back in the day. And it was me. I want to say Jeff Jarrett. I don't remember who our partner was, but it was fun. It was packed. That's for darn sure. That arena was packed, but it was a cool experience. I wrestled there. Conan booked it at the time. My first time meeting him. It was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We get to Thatcher versus Leon Ruff. So remember, Thatcher's saying he's going to take liberties with Leon Ruff. So that's pretty much what's happening. They're adhering to this story. The announcers just keep bringing up, he could have put him away ages ago, but he's not putting away Leon Ruff. Finally, out of nowhere, Leon Ruff rolls up Thatcher, and he wins the freaking match. Ciampa comes down afterwards, and he comes to save Leon Ruff, and he says, "I'll see you in the fight pit." So I don't know if we're going to get a Raw Underground style match, but it looks like they're going to do some kind of shoot style match. What do you think about that, Matt?
I don't know what you said, like fight pit. I don't know what that's going to be. That's the
match they did with Matt Riddle and Tim Thatcher.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, I remember that match now. Okay.
They called that a fight pit.
Yeah, I believe so. Right?
They did. They did. Is that how they wrote off Matt Riddle? Yeah, it was one of his last matches. Yeah.
And they wrote off Timothy Thatcher's teeth in that match.
Right. They did.
So we'll see. Well, I mean, I told you, I think Timothy Thatcher is talented. He's another one, like with the first two guys we talked about that opened up the show, like Lorican and them. They're all the same ilk to me. I'm bored by them. Overall, even though as a wrestler, when I watch them go, there's things in there that I'm watching them do with chain wrestling and reversing out of things. I'm like, damn, that's pretty damn impressive. But their characters, right? Their characters are something there that I just find very vanilla.
Yeah. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Matt, where I had the same thing when I was growing up with William Regal, where everyone would say he was a great wrestler, but when I was watching him, I was bored by him.
And I will say this. If you notice, when William Regal was wrestling, fans were not saying that, okay? It wasn't until he got to WWE, it became like an agent, and then we had to start watching matches to get better. We were always given fit matches, Regal matches, and then we're the ones that started like, God dang, this dude was freaking money. Like he was so good. His facial expressions, his everything, his way he would oversell things. He was awesome, awesome. And so the UK fans always loved Regal, and I always really thought he was amazing because he was. But like in America, I'll argue, in the heat of the moment when he was being booked on like WCW, right? Fans were not like, oh, William Regal is a main event talent. Nobody was saying that.
Right.
You know, so there's something to that. I don't know what it is, but
and same. I appreciated Regal as they got older and older, but the only time you saw the crowd going crazy in a Regal match was when he was facing Goldberg, and it's because of Goldberg, right?
And then when he did comedy stuff in WWE with Tajiri, he did amazing at that as a GM. Yeah. He was hilarious as hell.
Right.
But that's different. That's not the same thing what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I will say, people forget it. In 2008, when he won King of the Ring and he was doing this whole corrupt king thing, that was getting real hot. But then he got popped from a drug test, unfortunately, so they had to take that off TV and end it. But in another world, if he was to live that through, he could have become a pretty big star doing that.
Yeah.
Because the era that he was doing it in made sense. WWE is very good at when they want to put a machine behind somebody and add the garnish to the steak. They're very good at doing that with the promo packs and all that build up. They're very good at that with those videos.
Yeah.
Psycho Circus, thank you so much.
Psycho Circus.
And it was me, Abyss, and Jeff Jarrett. That's who the 6-man tag was. Thank you.
So then we get promo from Damian Priest. This is more backstage pre-tape, cutting a promo on Karrion Kross.
Sorry, real quick. This was the exact match. Jeff Jarrett, Matt Morgan, Monster Pain. Monster Pain defeated Monster Clown, Murder Clown, and Psycho Clown. Triple Mania 21.
Good job, Barney DC. You have better memory than me.
Very well done.
So Monster Pain was this huge 6'9" kid from Puerto Rico. Huge, very talented. He's a heavy set guy. Wore a mask. So he ended up going to FCW, and he had a stint there as Sweet Daddy something. He wore like a top hat. He did like this dancing gimmick, which is ridiculous because he's a killer. Sweet Daddy something. Guys in the chat room, look that up. He went to FCW. All right.
Real quick, Tim Mickles ran up. Wow, it's really Christmas Eve for Matt. You guys on the West Coast and Central Time Zone. It's Christmas Eve now.
It doesn't feel like Christmas Eve. It just doesn't.
Yeah, it's the 24th over there, and in about 20 minutes for me. Alfred's, you've got
an hour and 20. So it's still the 23rd here, but I'd be happy to spend Christmas Eve with you guys.
Alfred, where are you at? What state are you in?
I'm in California.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Northern California.
Rise is in Colorado, right?
Well, yeah, I'm in Colorado, but Alfred right now is with his fam in Northern California, but he lives in Southern.
Yeah, I live in Southern California.
Ah, cool. It's only 1:40 a.m. here. No big deal.
No, that's nothing. We're on the home stretch. So Damian Priest is cutting a promo on Karrion Kross saying, "What's this badass everyone's talking about? I'm going to punk you in front of the world." Then we go to Dexter Lumis. Let me tell you, we were talking about how's he going to host, and that's kind of the gimmick. It's like the guy can't talk, how's he going to host? He draws a picture of Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez in a last woman standing match, and then just kind of does this creepy look to the camera. And if this is what the hosting's going to be, I'm fine with it. If he's just going to draw pictures of the matches announcing them, like, it's not as much Dexter Lumis. This is a perfect amount of Dexter Lumis, so I was fine with this.
The one thing with Dexter Lumis is we've seen, like, if you don't have the mic skills on the main roster, you only get so far, and he's not working on his mic skills at all. Like, he's
not helping him.
Yeah.
And they're going to make him talk one day and just have some dumb idea for how his voice sounds, or they're going to do something crazy like that.
And then they're going to take him off TV like Lars Sullivan. He did that cringe-worthy promo, and he has not been on TV since.
Yeah. And it's not the town's fault. They need to be developing right now where he's at on NXT. Start doing it now. Please.
Yeah. So it's cute, the silent, creepy stare, but at some point, if he wants to be an actual player...
Got to sell tickets, right?
Yeah.
We go backstage. Leon Ruff, and this is some good booking. He says the curse is real. He wants a North American Championship rematch, and William Regal has given it to him. So he confirms that after winning a match and being a former North American champion, he gets that rematch. And of course, the caveat for that is that Johnny Gargano has never defended the North American Championship successfully. So there will be that drama in this match of, are they going to keep this going? This is long-term storytelling.
It's like the Sasha thing.
Are they going to keep this going? Exactly. To where the match with Johnny Gargano and Leon Ruff is going to be intriguing.
Well pointed out, Alfred. It's a good explanation of why he deserves a good job. Yeah, you're right.
But there's no way that Leon Ruff regains it.
No. Hell.
I don't know.
Yeah? You think so?
No way.
I don't. Here's the thing that I like. And this is what I like about it. Like, I wish I was that certain, but I thought the same exact thing when Johnny Gargano defended against Leon Ruff.
I didn't see it coming either. I don't think anybody did. But, dude, they've got too much real estate Gargano right now on their television show, man. And that belt works and adds to it a little bit, if you will. And I'll argue he helps the belt right now. I can't believe I'm saying any of this. I hated him when he turned heel. I was like, this is a terrible move. What are you guys doing? Yeah. He was a great babyface, you idiots. This will never work. It's worked. He's done great with it.
Yeah.
It really is. Then we go to Karrion Kross doing a promo of his own. This is another backstage promo to get us ready for that match that they're going to have on January 6th. He said that you dug yourself into a hole you're not going to get out of. You've made the biggest mistake of your life.
Yeah, I believe him. And here's the thing, is that you notice they're having him talk more? Have you guys started noticing that? Mm-hmm. Why is to Raj's point? Because he ain't going to be there very long. And the more he gets out there now, the better. And he's a believable promo. He's not going to be Jerry Lawler or Roddy Piper. He doesn't have to be. He needs to look like a shit kicker and come across as one when he talks. He comes across as one when he talks. I believe him.
He does.
One of the things with the wrestlers today is so many of them are fans of the in-ring, and they don't practice their promos and work on the character. Like MJF, like you see him, like you could tell he's working on his promos and
hell yeah.
And that gets you so far if you can develop that, as opposed to doing the flips and these crazy spots. Yep. And more wrestlers need to do that. Work on character.
Dude, if we have any wrestlers that are watching this, I'm telling you guys, you take a shower every morning. At least I hope you do. You have that opportunity while you're waiting for your water to get hot in the shower. Go to town on your bathroom mirror. Show all your look at all your facial expressions as you're talking. Shit, you have it even easier than I did. You have video cameras on your phones now, for crying out loud.
Right.
There's no excuse that you shouldn't be working on your facials, your body language, your voice inflection, your tones, all of that. That's the stuff that draws people in. It ain't the high spot stuff. Although I do like it, it's not what draws everybody in.
Right.
And it's absolutely something that could be improved because, I mean, I didn't mention this, but Roderick Strong cut kind of a promo earlier tonight, and it was a really good promo. He seemed very confident. And I remember watching Roderick Strong when he was in ROH. I went to live shows, and he had to cut promos, and it was some of the worst. I think he was the worst promo I'd ever seen in terms of making me uncomfortable when he talked, and he just couldn't cut a promo. But all these years later, he's clearly worked on it, and I thought he was pretty good tonight. I mean, I think that he was definitely improved from what I used to see.
He was insane.
He's improved.
He was insane.
He used to be awful.
Yeah.
He used to be
He's improved for sure. But when you hear Adam Cole talk after him, then it's like...
Oh, of course, yeah.
We're not doing
that. Saying, the only point I'm making is that promos can be improved in terms of if you work on your promos, you can get to a point where they're capable. And there was a point where Roderick Strong was not a capable promo at all at one point. And he can actually talk. He can hold his own. But not like Adam Cole, of course.
No.
We get to the main event. and it was Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole, of course. Pete Dunne ends up hitting the ring and attacking Roderick Strong before they go to break. He hits a better end on the outside. The match was fine. Adam Cole kind of carried it. It went well past 7 o'clock. I did notice that this match, when they went to break, it was like 6:58. So
they've been doing 8-minute overruns.
Come out, and so they did kind of a long overrun again. Adam Cole ends up hitting the last shot. He wins the match. And then that is did anything happen after they went off of air? I don't believe anything of note happened, but Adam Cole defeated Velveteen Dream
and
for the win.
Of note was the fact that Pete Dunne came out and is continuing that storyline. That means we're going to get to see more and more of our boy.
Yeah, I love to see Pete Dunne.
And so they announced Pete Dunne versus was it Adam Cole for next week?
I believe it's Pete Dunne versus Adam Cole.
Pete Dunne versus Adam Cole, but I meant the football player.
Oh, Pat McAfee.
Yes.
Oh, Pat McAfee.
We're going to get more of him, that means. And I love Pat McAfee.
Yeah. Bernie DC, cut promos and everything. The traffic light, the person at the bus station, the guy, girl that cut you off in traffic. The more one works on it, the better. Same with facials in the mirror. Absolutely.
He's a 70%. That's the dead ass honest truth. And also, I had a promo because I heard all these horror stories that you get brought up to TV as an OVW talent, as a developmental talent. If they come into Ohio or Kentucky area, we have to go to the show, right? And get in the ring and roll around and show what we've learned in front of the brass, right? And I was always nervous to be caught off guard, like on a promo. The brawler would bring me back into the promo room and say, all right, do a promo on Pippi Longstocking. Ha ha, he'll never be able to do that. Dude, I could cut a promo. I had it with my head where I could do every star on that roster. I'm not joking. Even like the minor stars, because in case they can't catch me off guard. And I had them all memorized. I'd write them out, which is not like me. I'm not a big writer. But I did because I never wanted to be caught off guard. And then what I would notice when I'd be put in situations to cut promos that would catch me off guard, I would start pulling little pieces out of like some of these, like the Scotty 2 Hottie promo. I'd pull a little bit out of Undertaker's. Undertaker, you had a decade of decadence, and I would put him over at the time because he was only 10 years in at the time, I remember. And then start putting myself over gratuitously on how he's looking at it. You know what I mean? How I'm better. Like, I had something for everybody, I remember. I still think the talent today should look at it that way. You should have a promo ready to go on everybody on your roster. Yeah. You know what I mean? And practice it. You guys have these freaking phone cameras I would have killed to have had back then.
Yeah, you have all the resources right at your fingertips. Bernie DC, a couple of other great tweets here saying, love the part of that FCW documentary when they talk about promo school and Dusty and showed some of the rare footage. Priceless stuff. And a little correction here from Bernie. The Cole promo ended the credits and they convert. It was Roderick Strong versus Pete Dunne for next week.
Oh, Roderick Strong was that's the one. Yeah,
well, that makes sense.
Strong versus,
he cost him that makes sense.
Yeah, he attacked him. Strong.
Yeah.
Who is this Bernie? I want
Jenny
to know the
Hayes.
identity of Bernie. I think Bernie's a wrestler.
Right. Yeah, I think it sounds like it, right?
Seriously, it feels like a wrestler.
Bernie, reveal yourself.
Yes, please.
Jenny Hayes saying, I know I'm an hour behind the show, but I'm glad they're ripping on Marco Stunt. We can rip on him. He holds Jurassic Express back so much. The whole him back, he's crazy shtick is dumb. Just let him get KO'd. How do you really feel?
Jenny Hayes coming in with the heat.
The kid can sing if that works for you.
Bro, Jenny Hayes said, screw the curveball. She should take nodding off the catcher. F that, I'm coming with the heat. That is hilarious.
That was awesome.
That's great. So that's the show. So the show's, it ended. I like the show.
So now that we've just recapped it, I don't feel as confident in saying I think NXT was better.
Yeah. Oh, I think the question was what's going to be better on New Year's in 2 weeks.
Is that what I said? Okay.
Right.
Yeah, the New Year's Evil versus AEW. I'm getting the two AEW cards confused.
Yeah.
Let me just run them down real quick and we'll finish up. Sorry, 1 second.
But tonight's AEW I felt was better.
Me too.
I did too. I can see the point for either. So night one next week, it's going to be Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix, Hikaru Shida versus Abaddon, John Moxley returns, and Jake Hager versus Wardlow. Night two, which is 2 weeks, It's going to be Darby Allin versus Brian Cage, Cody Rhodes versus Matt Sydal. So far, that's what's announced. So, yeah, night 1 is definitely a stronger card so far. Night 2, which is going to be head-to-head with NXT,
dude,
New Year's Evil.
They overrate Matt. I love Matt Sydal. He's a good dude, but they overrate the hell out of him like that, too. Like, their advertising, like, it's great to have Cody have a match versus him. That wouldn't be the second match that I'd advertise, though. I'd just say appearing, Cody Rhodes will be wrestling.
Like Cody Rhodes in action.
Yes. I swear to God, that's how I would say it. But, so what do we have for NXT?
So NXT is pretty loaded. Hold on. Let me pull that card up here. Obviously, we've got... Sorry, 1 second. So we've got the Fight Pit that we talked about earlier. Kyle O'Reilly versus Finn Balor. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Gonzalez.
Oh, that's it right there. That's a knockout blow. That's it.
And Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher in the Fight Pit. Those gimmick matches usually work well. And then Karrion Kross versus Damian Priest, I think that's going to be...
Oh, my God. Like,
it's going to be a good card.
Yeah.
It's going to blow it away.
Yeah.
Just as soon as you hit Gonzalez versus Rhea, that for me, that was a lock. They already won.
Yeah.
Dude, and we're getting Karrion Kross versus freaking Priest. Jeez, dude. And that's just one night, though. That's just one night?
That's just one night, yeah.
Okay.
The New Year's Evil. And Dexter Lumis is going to be painting decisions throughout the show, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Let's just call it what it is. That's corny. Let me ask a question. Don't you think it'd be smarter for AEW to stack that first show to get eyeballs off of NXT somehow?
Absolutely, because next week is kind of a dead week. It's a holiday week. January is always when, like Raw, like they're building the big Legends thing. You know, it's not next week; it's the week after, because that's when football season's over. You know, you want to put your big guns in, and just in general, start off the new year with the big. So you'd want your bigger matches. I would think that next week.
So when are we gonna see Shaq?
I mean, tonight
That's a good question.
It's like Tyson. When are we going to see Tyson? I don't know if we will.
We're supposed to see Tyson?
Well, remember they built that up with Jericho, Tyson and Jericho, and then it never paid off.
He at least came out to a pull apart. Can I get that from you, Shaq?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, tonight they were following the NBA. I thought that would have been the perfect time to have a Shaq segment in the front of the show. Even if it's a taped interview, even if it's replaying that one interview, and then you show the Jade. Yeah.
Yep. Because here's the thing about NBA, especially I watch NBA on TNT post-game reports because they're hilarious. EJ, Barkley, Shaq, Kenny Smith, they're hilarious. And they always clown Shaq, and he gets hot. And when he gets hot, like they all stop. It's a shoot.
And he gets personal. Like, he'll go to the nozzle with no title.
He's like,
he'll go right for the jugular.
Yes. Charles will jab him with something kind of soft. Immediately, Shaq jumps right down his throat with, you can't talk about this. You never won a title. You don't get to talk about any of these championship conversations.
And your wife's been cheating on you.
Yeah, he's really brutal. He goes for the jugular. So there's a history on that network of clowning Shaq, the attempts to clown Shaq. So how in the hell they could not have transitioned into just the slow-mo of Brandy throwing water on Shaq and Shaq's facial expression after that to come in tonight's AEW, I think it was a huge missed opportunity because those NBA on TNT fans would pop huge for that because they think it's hilarious when they clown Shaq.
Shaq's a gigantic superstar. To just cut immediately to after the game, it's a missed opportunity.
Huge.
I'm interested to see what the number does. They will have an inflated opening in terms of going from. They didn't slow down. They went from the game right to AEW. Right. So I completely agree with you, Matt. If they would have had Shaq doing something to where it's you still see Shaq, they could have capitalized off that huge inflated audience they got. But I think there's going to be a huge drop off throughout the show.
Yeah, and they could have had commercials during the NBA game. Shaq is going to address Cody Rhodes tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
To get those people hooked.
There has to be something we're missing. There has to be.
Yeah, it seems easy. Too easy that it could be missed. So there's got to be something.
Has to be an answer to this, yeah.
Well, guys, thank you guys so much. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Eve in a lot of parts of the country right now. And Matt, man, hardest working man on this podcast. Anything you'd like to say before we go off the air here?
No, when will I see everybody again on this podcast?
On Christmas.
On Friday, right?
Yeah, you and Glenn.
So today's technically Thursday. What am I saying? It doesn't feel like Christmas. It does. Guys, this doesn't feel like Christmas. I'm just going to be honest. This doesn't.
Yeah, I agree.
So with that said, I will see you all on Christmas Day. So I wish you a happy holiday. I'm not even saying New Year because I'm going to see you all before that. So
right. Yeah.
I wish you all a good rest of your day.
Yeah. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas Eve. Follow me at This Is Nasty. Watch my articles on Forbes, and then subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pro Wrestling Bits.
Yeah, it's funny. I was telling Alfred right before we went on the air. I was reading this Darby Allin article on the site, and it's like, oh, this was an interview with Alfred. So check out his stuff on Forbes. He's got a ton of cool stuff, and keep checking us out. We really appreciate you guys. You guys have been amazing. We love that you guys are the interaction and how we get to interact with you guys.
Loyal, interactive, and it's a different kind of interactive. It's like we joke, and I especially the most out of everyone here messes with you guys the most in the chat room. But you guys get it. You feel like part of the family. And the people that reached out to me about Thrive, I've told you all that, and I've caught some of you off guard with that. But I meant every word of that. I considered every single one of you all that consistently coming in here. You're part of our family, and we appreciate the hell out of you guys. It's because of you we get to do this. So thank you.
Yeah.
People don't talk about the good people on Twitter, and there's a lot of good people on Twitter from the wrestling community who've been just so welcoming to me, and I just really appreciate being here. So thank you guys.
Oh, the vast majority of our guys are good.
Yeah,
like, it's just fun, and we appreciate it. So
if Twitter would let me in, I'd be able to see that, but.
All right, thank you guys, and join. It'll be Glenn and Matt this Friday on Christmas for the post SmackDown wrestling podcast. And take care, and we'll see you then.
Bye, guys.